Right. Good evening, everyone. Am I live? Yeah, I think I'm. Oh shucks, I forget to put the latency on low. Damn it. Now it'll have a big delay when I speak. I can't change that once I start. No, I can't. Can I? Let me see. Nope, nope, nope. Can't change the latency once I start. That sucks. Now I'll have a big delay every time I say something and I have to wait for y'all to respond. But that's okay. Can I change it while I start by? Nope. 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 Whole year I doing this thing and I forget to change the latency, you know. Cause I could anyhow. Good night everybody. Good night, good night. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Sunday Night Live where we are preparing for CSEC IT. Cause we in a gear. Nice to have you on the inside. All those of you who are doing exams soon in May, June, or June, July, depending on when CXC decides to organize their life. Nice to have you on the inside. And tonight, I was trying my very, very best. Trust me, I try real hard to get the January 2021 exam and couldn't find it. Couldn't find it, but nobody have it. I think the only country that did it is Jamaica, because Trinidad and Tobago didn't do it, and I can't remember any other country signing up to do it. So apparently I'll wait for Jamaican to find the paper, or I have to wait till CXC releases it officially on their website for purchase, because I normally purchase the past paper booklet to make sure we have all the past papers, but they take so long to kind of update the past paper booklet, and even some of the past papers that they have, they miss out some, so can't really do much about that. But nonetheless, in my playlist for all the papers that I worked out everything from 2019 or from January 2020 all the way back down to May 2015. So I'm working my way all the way down to 2010. So right now tonight we're going to do January 2015, and then I'll just keep going back down all the years as the weeks go by until I have a bank of all the past paper solutions for IT. So any student who needs past paper solutions for IT, they'll just be able to go and watch those videos and they will see the videos and the explanations, right? So no time to waste. Good evening to all those of y'all. I see Javish is on, Spanish is on, Faith is here, Meme Sawa, nice to see you, and all the other 14 people that are watching. Share it with your friends, your IT friends who do in IT, because they'll get vexed with you if you knew about this but you never told them. It's time to start! Hi, my name is Mr. Charles from makeITsimpleTT Educational Solutions, and I teach information technology. I have classes at the CSEC level, at the CAPE level, information technology classes for adults who want to learn technology, workshops, seminars for teachers, seminars for companies, anything that makes information technology simple for people who need to use it, we do it. All right, so we're back. Welcome to January 2015. I just need to let you know about my one new meme that I got, because every week I add in a new meme. So tonight, if we bounce up a question that we don't understand and it's not making sense,
Nani? 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 Nani?
yeah, so if we bounce up a question, that's the meme of the day. Don't forget, if you're not too sure what to do, in the chat, if you learned something, you put the graduation hat, aka the scholar emoji, or you could put the person graduating. If you find the question is easy, you send a cake emoji, and if you have a question, ask a question. And if things going good and you just want to keep things rolling along, thumbs up, right? So for those of you that don't know, I have a playlist with all the solutions for all the IT papers, including the specimen paper from all the way back. And I also show you which questions are no longer on the syllabus to make sure that you don't waste your time, right? So we're going to start with today, yeah. Right, so today we're going with January 2015. This is our guy here. Why am I blue and not supposed to be blue? It's supposed to be red. Thank you. Thank you very much. Red is the color. Right, red, yeah, good. All right, so let's go into it. First question is a binary question, so we don't have to do this again. No binary, hexadecimal, any conversions, nothing like that. No 8-bit representation, nothing. All right, so we're going to question 2. Question 2. Consider the following devices listed from D1 to D5: a pressure sensor, plotter, headphone, a scanner, and a joystick. Wait, I now realize I could move this thing to the big screen here so I could see everything. I was trying to minimize this on the small screen. Hey, Christopher, as I say there, next week I want to go through the whole SBA question and answer and thing and whatnot. So I want to promote this week. You down for that? As I saw you there. Just let me know. I'll organize you the link and everything, and we're gonna go hard on that SBA and every single thing that anybody could ask for it. Cool. So first question. Consider the following devices listed from D1 to D5: pressure sensor, plotter, headphone, scanner, and joystick. From the list of above, state the devices that are classified as input devices. So we have to look at all of these and then pick one. Now, input devices send things into the computer. So a pressure sensor, sensors don't send anything to the computer. Well, a sensor could send something into a computer. Actually, yes, pressure sensor. A sensor does send something and send it into the computer. So we could say that, yes, this sensor is something. So D1 is an input device, clearly. A plotter, this is a printer. And a printer doesn't send anything to the computer. A printer is an output device. Headphone, a headphone, you hear from it. So that means it comes out to your ears. So therefore, no. A scanner scans a piece of paper and sends it into the computer. So yes, a scanner will be an input device. And a joystick you move and something responds on the computer. So therefore, it goes in. So therefore, joystick will be a part of the input, right? Output devices, Christopher, don't set me up, you know. I know you have the gold, and we need to share the gold with the students. Don't hold back on me. Just set aside 1 hour on Sunday night. You don't even have to shave, because I don't really put too much effort into my facial appearance. Where do I reach? Output devices, right? So output devices clearly would be the printer, the plotter, and the headphone, because they send things out. So that is D2 and D3. Right, that was pretty easy. No issues there. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Don't forget to like the video. Click little thumbs up. And don't forget to share the video also. If you're watching this and you know people will benefit from it, there's a little arrow that's point. It kind of point to share. Right, share the link. Alright, for each device listed in the table below, give an example of an application that would be suitable. Ooh, right. So, see this thing about IT and giving examples? You have to be able to understand that IT is not just about learning things and regurgitating it. You have to be able to apply it to life. And you need to be able to give some sort of example that is relevant. Don't give an example that just be like, oh yeah, a pressure sensor senses stuff. No. So where would there be a pressure sensor? A pressure sensor could be like by an automatic door. Right, so automatic door, when you stand up on top of the pressure plate, it will open up the door for you automatically. Some of them operate by lasers too, but automatic door. A pressure sensor could be in a robotic arm. So it'll be able to sense when it's holding on to something, not to crack it, like if it's picking up bottles or some kind of thing like that. Right, if you have any other answers for pressure sensor along those lines, you could put them in the chat, let me know, and I'll tell you if they would be acceptable or not. But try your best to be able to give some sort of educated answer. Think about, okay, where have I seen something like this happen before? Where does pressure need to be applied, and how do they figure it out? A plotter will print billboards, and it'll print architectural drawings. Now don't get too vexed if your spelling is poor, because they do spell they do take away marks for spelling. JAGR said a gas tank. A gas tank is cool, but now you have to think about how does a gas tank link to a computer, because remember, this is IT. So if you put a gas tank, yes, there's a pressure sensor, but that could be a mechanical thing only. And because we're doing IT, you should try to make an example match something in information technology. So automatic doors, robotic arm, those things are IT based because there's a circuit or something in there, right? But good attempt. Headphones, where can you apply headphones? Well, listening to music. Duh. Is it kind of question you'll be like, why? There's just, easy marks. I don't understand. But we'll take it. Dwayne, you said CSEC Jan, paper 2 didn't give much thing. Alright. NG, you said stylus for drawing tablet. Yes. Stylus for drawing tablet. That's a very good answer, yeah. That is overwhelming well. Alright, so a headphone will be listening to music. Listening to music / audio. Anything like that shouldn't be a problem. A scanner will be like converting physical documents to digital. You could also scan tests or work. You could also scan, like, tests, like work. Submitting written tests. That's kind of applicable to our life right now. Yep. All right, so we're good there. A joystick, well, they're playing games. Playing video games. What else, boy? After playing video games, you could do flying a drone. Yeah, flying drones, that's cool too. Alright, so basically this question here is cake. If you found it was cake, I would encourage you to send a cake emoji, because you should eat cake, right? Cake is good. Yeah. Alright, next question. State the name of the hardware component that performs each of the following tasks. Stores the boot up program. The thing that stores the boot up program is the ROM, aka read only memory. Yeah, the other type of memory is RAM, but RAM stores things to be used later, right? Executes the sequencing of instructions in the CPU. That is the control unit, or aka CU. Alright, if you don't understand that, you should be familiar with this diagram here. This diagram here kind of breaks this down into the basic input, process, output, and inside here you have the CU, and then the next one is the ALU, and then closely linked to that you have RAM, and then you have secondary storage, and the input goes into the processor. It either outputs or it stores it temporarily, and then it will be sent back up to give an output, right? So that's basically what this question is asking. Do you understand the IPO diagram in input, the input process output sequence and kind of vibes? All right, stores data to be used later, right? To be used later means that it's being temporarily stored. So RAM is the word, and for allows data to be entered into the computer. Well, they want to know the hardware components. So these are the hardware components. You're basically looking at this diagram to get your answers. So we're looking at allows data to be entered in the computer, be input. Displays the results of processing to the user. Well, displaying is clearly your output. Right? Now, there are some students who may leave this question out because they're like, what? What is our hardware component? What hardware component do I have to do? And then they'll be like, leaving out the paper. And I'll watch it and be like,
why are you running? Why are you running?
Don't run from the question. Sit down and just kind of ask yourself, okay, do I know anything? And if I could take anything, at least I'll be able to narrow down the topic that it's from. And if I could narrow down the topic that it's from, then I should be able to figure it out. So don't ever run from a question. Always try to answer a question. Don't ever leave a question blank, because the only person that will be able to laugh at it is the examiner. And trust me, examiners don't have time to be laughing at your answers. They just be trying to mark it as quick as possible. So don't beat up too much if you don't understand. Put something down and try to make sense of it and at least narrow down the topic. All right, part B. An excerpt of the specifications of a computer system is listed below. So we have a computer system. Ooh, look, wow. DVD drives. What a thing. What a novel idea. Right. So we're taking all of these specs here, and people who know about gaming PCs and all that kind of thing, they just chew up these questions and be like, oh, this thing really easy. And then people who don't know anything about gaming PCs, they'll watch this question and be like,
No! God, please, no! No! No!
so I'm going to teach you how to just kind of pull things out of it just by making sense of what you're seeing, right? So the resolution of the monitor. The first thing you have to try to figure out is, okay, if I want to figure out the resolution of the monitor, is there a line here that will represent what the monitor will be? You see this thing here called display? Display definitely sounds like a monitor, right? So it sounds like a monitor. Therefore, I should scan inside here to find the resolution on the monitor. Resolution is always like, the amount of pixels that I have. So 1366 by 768. Now, I am not 100% sure that this is still on the syllabus, because inside the syllabus, there's no mention of monitors, LCD, resolution, pixels, or anything like that. But in hardware troubleshooting, there are questions about how to troubleshoot a monitor. So I still teach the concept of a monitor because, one, it's good for you to know because you wouldn't waste your time buying an 8K TV. And also, it may help you with certain questions. So if they ask a question about resolution, at least you will know. But I don't think it is on the syllabus directly where they could ask this part. But specifications is on the syllabus. So therefore, if specifications on the syllabus, you must be able to understand the specifications of a display. So let's just leave it at that. Size of the hard drive. Well, the word hard drive is here. So therefore, find the word hard drive. And then be like, oh, cool. What inside this list of information here will tell me something about the size of the hard drive? TB, tuberculosis. No, it's not tuberculosis. It's terabytes. Is terabyte something that I could use? Yes, the size of the hard drive is 1 TB, terabytes. Basically, right? That's not me coughing there. I don't have corona. This is Lysol. Okay. Size of the RAM. RAM. So where do I find anything about RAM? If I look through everything, I'll see, hey, look, there's the word RAM inside here. If they have RAM inside here, it's very possible that that might have information about the size of the RAM. So if I look in this line and I see, okay, gigabytes, then yeah, GB. So the size of the RAM is 4 gigabytes. And then the type of processor, I could look at the list and I see the word processor. Well, if the word processor is there and they're asking for the type of processor, then obviously it's in this line. So this thing here says Intel Core i5 processor. So therefore the type of processor is clearly this guy. So I'll just put Intel Core i5. Intel Core i5. As I said, people who know about PCs and gaming and whatnot, they would chew up these questions because it's really easy. But there are people who don't. So you need to be able to rationalize it and look through the lines, right? Speed of the optical drive. Well, it says optical drive, and then you see 8x here. It can't be DVD plus minus DRW. That's the type of drive, right? So 8x is the speed. This one, I don't think they will ask you anytime soon because, well, no, they could, you know. I know, optical drives. We don't really have that anymore, but if they ask it, yeah, that'll be kind of rough. So, this question should be okay. If you have any questions, please ask. If not, send me this color emoji to let you know. Let me know that you're ready to move on. Because yeah, while you're sending the information, let me remind you of the website. makeITsimpleTT.com. You go to my website and you will see me, of course, but you see this part here called videos. Every time I do a video, it gets categorized and automatically adds to the list. Download Grammarly if you want. And if you go to theory, you'll see all the theory videos I have, which I'm currently updating piece by piece. All the algorithms and problem solving, which I'm currently not updating piece by piece, because this tells you everything about algorithms and problem solving. SBA videos, different things, how to do the SBA, how to do the specific parts of the SBA, the syllabus, sample SBA. Wow, I have a lot of SBA videos, because SBA usually gives children a lot of trouble. Multiple choice answers, we'll get to these eventually when I do multiple choice. Yeah. And then paper 2 answers, which I'm doing right now. So you realize I have answers all the way down to May 2015. So that was the whole paper. So the next paper will be added will be January 2015. Cool. Right, so everybody seems to be okay. There were no questions. So we head back into the next question. Next question is, an operating system is a special software that enables users to interact with the computer system. State one example of an operating system software used on a desktop computer. Operating system software, those are things that run the computer. So what makes it work? So your first one will be normally it'll be like Windows. Next one will be Mac OS. On mobile, you'll have iOS and Android. And if you're really techie, you know about Linux. Any one of those counts. Anyone. We'll give you one mark. Easy. State 2 types of software user interfaces other than GUI. So the 3 user interfaces I have will be GUI. And next one will be menu. And the next one will be command line. Alright, so they said state it and give the main input device using each. So the main input device for menu driven will be a mouse to choose between things, and command line will be a keyboard. Because remember, with menu driven, you are given different menus to choose from, so you have to click on the little drop down menu with the little arrow that's kind of pointing down, and then it'll drop down and give you all the different choices. Yeah, you need a mouse to click on that. You could use a keyboard, but it's not the main input device because we use our mouse to use menu-driven interfaces. Command line, definitely keyboard because you have to actually type the commands to make sense or to have any purpose or point. Right, state one example of a hardware user interface. A hardware user interface means you actually interface with the computer by physically using it or you physically manipulate it. So it could be a touch screen. It could be a Braille keyboard. Because actually interfacing with it makes it work. So you have to do something to it for it to work properly. So you will kind of basically be like that. Yeah. Identify two characteristics or features found in a GUI, in a graphical user interface. Okay, whenever you think about graphical user interface, you gotta use like WIMP, not like a lame person who's get bullied. WIMP will be windows, icons, menus, pointers. Right? So windows, icons, menus, pointers, you need to be able to kind of say any one of those, because that's what makes up a GUI. Well, that's the acronym that we use. All right. Apart from providing the user interface, state two other functions of an operating system. This is not in the syllabus anymore, but you could put it. It does. You just have to put the word management at the end of most things, right? So memory management, file management, input output management, and I forget the other one because we don't teach it anymore because it's not on the syllabus. This here, not really on the syllabus, but it'd be good for you to know. Memory management, file management, input output management, and can't remember the next one. I think it's like disk or storage management or something. All right, we're on to number 5. If you have any questions, feel free to ask as we go along, because, yeah, just making sure. Other than that, you seem to be handling it very well. Is that true? Or is that,
Lie again. Lie.
Alright, so state two methods that can be used to ensure that the data is entered accurately into the computer. Okay, these types of questions have a issue because you have to know verification and validation. And sometimes the questions will be a little weird and you have to read it twice. So don't be too worried when you read it. You can just take your time, read it over, and just be like, yeah. So make sure you take your time. All right. So what's your scenario? Data has been collected for a survey and entered into a computer using a data entry form. So anytime you enter in data, you ask yourself, okay, how do you make sure the data is entered, right? So the question is, state two methods that could be used to ensure the data is entered accurately into the computer. Now, to enter it accurately into the computer, you need to make sure that it goes in a particular way. So there are two ways to enter data accurately. Double entry, meaning you put it in twice, or visual checks. Visual check will check the original form and then the other form that you put it in, right? So visual checks or double entry, right? So let's see how we going down here. Explain two methods and ensure that explain how the two methods named in A above ensure that the data is entered accurately into the computer. So how does it ensure? So basically you're going to explain and you're going to show that you have a mastery of the knowledge of it, right? So you're going to say double entry. The data is entered twice and compared. If there is an issue, an alarm is raised. So you get like a red line or something, you know, like when you have to enter your passwords and you have to enter them twice. And when you enter the two passwords and they don't match each other, they will tell you, no, there's a problem. The passwords don't match, right? That is double entry. Both of them going at the same time. Well, go in and they get checked at the same time. Next one is visual checks. The person entering the data, looks / reads over from the original. Looks at / reads over from the original source. So it'll read over from the original source to check to see if it matches up. And that's a visual check. So basically, explanation was 2 marks. But whenever you see the word explain, your goal is to kind of show some sort of ability to apply it to a situation. If you can't do that, you might end up losing the marks. So tell me how you feel about that. Any questions? You know the drill. Either the graduation hat, thumbs up, or cake, whichever one matters to you. State the names of 3 checks and explain how they work to ensure that the data is valid. Alright, so this part here is the valid part. And I've been teaching long enough to know that when students hear verification and validation, this is what it does want to do. And I was had to be like, no, don't throw away your computer. It's very easy to understand. Valid means, can you accept it? If you don't know what you have to do to accept it, you have to be able to, you have to say, all right, cool, it's not valid. So validation checks could be, first one is data type. I went through this last week. Data type is a straightforward one to go with. Then a next one would be range. And then the next one would be format / length. Right? Format and length, right? These are 3 easy ones. Anytime they give you a straightforward explanation or validation, don't go for consistency and don't go for reasonableness because you can mess yourself up. But these here, very simple. Data type. If numbers alone are expected, then give an error if text is entered. Easy. So that if the thing say put in your age and your age is 19 and you put NINETEEN, you're supposed to get error because the computer will tell you,
No! God, please, no! No! No!
right? That's what the computer will tell you. Range check now will say accept only numbers between a particular range. Example, 1 to 100 for test marks. If you could give a nice little example, you will you'll be able to get through. You'll be able to get through real easy. So you see, whenever you see explain, if you could give an example always give you a nice way to, explain. Because if the numbers that you put in don't fall within the range, they'll have a problem. And then the computer, whoever is getting the data, will have to be like,
Nani? 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 Nani?
and you get all sorts of different error messages. Could be like, that number is not an acceptable number. A student can't get 101, right? So, next one is format and length. Ensure the data is input with a set standard. Example, day, month, year, or month, day, year, right? Because that shows that when you put in the data, you have to put in the day first, then the month, then the year. Or it has to show you that you're putting the month first, then the day, then the year. That's format and length. format and length is important because, well, in some places, if you put the month first, it will look like you're born in January, when it could really be born the first of a particular month. So you want to make sure format and length is, you put some effort into making sure that you pay attention to that, right? All right, so this 10 marks here. Sometimes people usually mess up the verification and validation questions, and you just kind of be like, you could have do better, you could have do better. And I think that you can. I think that you can. Anytime I see a child get a whole verification and validation question correct, I'll be like, you are the one. You are the one. Because everybody's always have problems with verification and validation. But stick with me on this channel and you will learn some stuff. Alright, so good. The Ministry of Education has set up a video conference lab in a school and install a high-speed internet connection. So we reach over to like internet and those things, right? Installed a high-speed internet connection. List 4 hardware devices required for this lab. Okay, it's a video conference lab. So what do we need for sure? We would need some sort of camera / webcam. Wait, now I still have Discord open. I hear the Discord noise. Hold on. Oh yeah. Closing Discord now. Can't afford for those noises. Nice. Cool. Yeah, right. So you need a camera or webcam because clearly a video conference library. If you are video conferencing, you'll also need audio, so you probably need speakers. Speakers/headphones. Then you'll probably need, you might need a projector /TV/monitor. Something like that to make sure that the thingy. Why do Windows? Wait, no. It kind of learned something when I touch the Windows button on my tablet. His Windows has come up. Wow. How amazing is that? How come nobody ever teaches it? So if I touch any other part, anything will happen? No, but if I touch the Windows key. Is that touch button, yes? Wow. Wow. Lenovo, you never cease to amaze me. It's almost 3 years I have my laptop here and I now learn that way. You know how handy that could have come in like a while ago. Anyhow. Alright, so after projector /TV/monitor, you would need a microphone. Because clearly they want you to figure out the things that you need for video conferencing. Microphone. Laboratory. Video conferencing. Things you can't put PC. Because clearly they have a computer. You can't put like you can't put anything that has to do with the internet connection. So you can't put modem. And you can't put all them stuff. You might get away with a switch. Because a switch will need to connect all the computers together. But this here, that's a real stretch kind of thingy part. Just understanding people question and say it's a video conferencing. So therefore, anything that I need for video conferencing, put that down. Thanks. That'll be great. That'll be wonderful. You will win with that, right? Okay, good. So we're moving on now to write down in what's this? Okay, there's a this is a number comparison table question, and these sort of questions here, cake. Just swallow it, eat it, digest it, and do whatever you have to do after, right? So, to link computers in a lab, so whenever you have a table question, it's very good to read through the table first, instead of just starting to throw things inside the table because you think you know it. Read through all, because some of them may be close, because these questions tend to have like 1 or 2 very close ones, and you have to like, think, yeah. Okay, so, link computers in a lab, alright, maybe. Rules for transferring files over the internet, okay. Address of a website, I could think of that easily. public area where you can access the internet via Wi-Fi, making phone calls over the internet, transfer files from your computer to a web server. Well, IRL things I could automatically put in. So the address of our website, I'll look at that easily and be like, all right, that's a URL. That's the address of our website. Cool. Making phone calls over the internet, that is voice over IP. So I'll put the VoIP there one time. This thing says put the number inside there, but I just write any words because it'll be easy for you all to see the answer one time on the video. Transfer files from your computer to a web server. File transfer protocol, clearly. I just showing you, I don't have to do it from top to bottom. Oh no, file transfer protocol is clearly not this one because they have a better answer, which is called upload. From your computer to a web server, so that's clearly upload. Rules for transferring files over the internet, yes, that is FTP. A hotspot is definitely not to link computers and allow hotspot public area where you can access internet Wi-Fi, even though hotspots are now synonymous with your phone, because you tell people turn on their hotspot when you want to get the internet from them, when you want to leech off some internet. But hotspot is going here, and link computers in a lab is a LAN, local area network. Right, 6 marks, easy, cake, and you just walk out this question. Yeah, you walk out the question like, thank you very much for those marks. I appreciate it. Just like that, we're on section 2. Wow, that was easy. Alright, so let's go to spreadsheets now. BJ Stores, a local chain store with branches, is a local chain store with branches around the country, has prepared the spreadsheet below. Showing sales for the period 2013 to 2015. Answer the following questions based on the spreadsheet. Alright, cool, let's see. Stating on the feature using the spreadsheet to align the text BJ Stores across the columns. Right, to align something across the columns, to basically get this, because remember, you realize cell A to F, all them in the same place, right? That's called merge and center. Right? Merge and center. If you spell center as C-E-N-T-R-E, you could do that too. Nobody will get vexed with you. Write the function to find the maximum yearly total for the period 2013 to 2015. Alright, so the maximum yearly total 2013 to 2015. And we want to find the maximum yearly total for the period 2013 to 2015. So the yearly totals are here, because these are the totals for all of them. No, my bad. I am wrong. The yearly totals are here, because these are the totals for every year. You're finding the totals of all these numbers going down. So we want to find the max of all of those. So we put an equal sign, max, because that's the function for maximum. Open brackets, and then we have our start cell, which is here, and our end cell, which is here. So the start cell is B10, and the end cell is D10. So it'll be B10 to D10. Ta-da! Right, cool. You're welcome. It is projected that the 2016 sales for each branch will increase by 10% over the 2015 sales. Write the formula to compute the 2016 projected sales for the BCE branch. All right. It's projected that the 2016 sales for each branch will increase by 10% over the 2015. So this is maths. This is not IT. This is more maths than anything. So they told you to write a formula. Remember, a formula you're using either asterisk for multiply, slash for divide, plus or minus, right? So 2016 projected sales. So wherever 2016 sales is for the each branch. All right, so the total sales is here. No. the 2016 sales for each branch. Oh, we basically want to calculate this number inside here. Okay, my bad. All right. So interpreting this, I ain't gonna lie to you, it could be tricky because they use a lot of words, and the lot of words is plenty. So we want to find out this here. So what we're going to do, the sales for each branch will increase by 10%. And we want to look at the BCE branch. Where's the BCE branch? BCE branch is this guy here. So we found the right column, but we're not using this number here. We're using this one here, which is the BCE. So BCE is in cell, what's the cell? F9, right? So that'll be equal F9 multiplied by 10%. Now you could put 0.1 if you want, and then add it back to F9. This is where the maths comes in, because you have to multiply the number and then add it back. So this here, there's maths, and well, I really can't teach you that maths. If you don't know that maths, I suggest you check Curvin Springer, because I mean I could teach you that maths, but I don't have time to teach you that right now. So if you don't understand the maths that happen there, yeah, I have to take out the music cause getting YouTube copyright strikes. But you understand what I mean. Alright, the sales figures in the spreadsheet have been formatted. Stay the format used. The spreadsheet was formatted. You see these commas here? The format is called comma. Just leave it at that. You could say write a line and all them kind of things, but what CXE looking for is comma, and it as is every year, even though when you look at the list of formats that they have in the list of formats, they have currency and number and all kind of thing. They don't even have comma anymore. But I don't know, it's still there. If they ask it, just put comma. Once you see the comma. If you see a dollar sign, put accounting or currency. Alright, if the spreadsheet is sorted in ascending order by the total sales for each branch, which branch will be at the top of the spreadsheet? So we put it in ascending order. Ascending order basically means A to Z, right? Well, no, total sales is 1, yeah, from 0 to 100 is ascending order, yeah. So total sales, ascending order. No, ascending order is, yeah, lowest to highest. So we're looking for the lowest total sales, which will be 1850. So which branch is that? That is BCE. So therefore at the top, which branch will be at the top? BCE will be at the top. Yeah. Oh, I use the wrong cell. Is D9, my bad. Yeah, thanks for telling me that. I put the thing in F9. F9 is where you want it to be. D9 is where you actually want to pull the number from. So yeah, you are correct. Thank you very much for that. Who asked me that? JAGR? Jamaica GR? I guess so. Yeah. So we calculating D9 multiplied by 10%. Yeah. So I would have get that wrong because I took it for granted. Right? So we find in the 2015 sales, which is this one here, multiplying it by 10% and then adding it back to itself, and we storing it in F9, but it didn't ask us where to store it, it just asked us to calculate it. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, because for that question, I was like... So thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. All right, let's go on now to databases. Our department has created a database with one table named stock to store a computer, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we have a database. We have a name of the table called stock, and the database has different things inside of it. Now we just have to get into database mode and figure out, all right, what is actually happening. So 2 data types other than text would be this one, date and time, and number. So we say date, number, and date / time. Or just to remind you all, when people see database questions, in my experience, I have no reason why, but it's be like this.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Please, just watch a database question and say to yourself, I think I could do this. I could do this, right? So, data types, that's not a real problem. This 2 marks is easy to get. Next one, say the most appropriate field for use as a primary key and indicate the reason for your choice. Primary key, you're looking for the most unique field I could find. Equipment. No, there's repeat because you have printer. Manufacturer, you have HP. You can't use that. Date of purchase, it may not have any repeats, but you realize that it is possible that I could have 2 of the same dates when you purchase something, so you don't want to do that. Warranty in years, they have repeats. But however, code does not have any repeats. The code is literally going to be unique each time. So you will put code. And you put code because there are no repeats. Here, Christopher, I agree with you totally. Databases are actually easier than spreadsheets. Spreadsheets, you can get tied up quick if you don't know the correct cell, just like how I get tied up just now. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. All right, a query was created in the stock table and the result of the query is shown below. So this is the result of the query. This is what happens when the query is finished. So state the criterion used for the query. Wow. This is... Okay, so we're looking for patterns, right? So we're looking for the 3. Is there anything else that has string that we didn't see? 3, 3, 3. All right, so clearly the thing was looking for warranty equal to 3 years. Because we saw a pattern of what they were looking for. It can't be anything in equipment because you have printer, system unit. It can't be anything with dates because the dates all over the place. But you can clearly see that warranty equals 3. That's clearly there. All right. The report below was generated from the table. Ooh, all right. State the field used to group the records. Grouping records, you will always see something on the left and then you'll see subsets. So you see that this here, APC has been grouped and there are clearly 2 things in the group. That's that. So this is one group here. You could also see that Dell has been grouped and there are 2 things inside the Dell section. All right, look at it carefully. So there's a group and then HP has been grouped like that. So clearly it's been grouped by manufacturer. And then which field has been used to sort the records? You're looking for numerical or alphabetical. Warranty sorted? No, you have 1, 1. Oh yeah, that's true. Look, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 1. No, it can't be 3, 1 because this here is not sorted. SU, no. PP, GG, H. Ooh, it could be code because P2, no, P2 117 had to come before 120 if it was sorted. Or it could be sorted in descending, no, 101 will come before 05. So not definitely not that. This is sorted by date. 3rd of the 15th month, 2010, 7th of the 15th, 2010, 11th of the 14th, 2008, 6th of the 10th, 2009, 8th of the 10th, 3rd of the 12th. Okay, so date. Or it could be manufacturer, which is straightforward. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Yes, so it's manufacturer. Date might have a good... Date had a chance, but manufacturer is still it. Question is, why is this 2 marks? For me to write down the word manufacturer and figure out why is it 2 marks?
Nani? 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 Nani?
sometimes I was wonder if they're just deciding, well, hey, we had to fill up the marks, boys, so let's just put 2 marks for this. Because to say which field is, if they say which field was used to sort the record and say how it was sorted and you say manufacturer in descending or ascending, cool, no problem. But I don't know. I feel like that 2 marks there. Oh no, this whole thing is 2 marks. Oh, damn. I understand why it's 2 marks. I thought this part alone was 2 marks, but this here is the first mark and that's the second mark. Alright, cool. I'll take it back. I'm sorry. I was the problem. I blatantly debased CXC without any reasoning. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. Alright. Number 9. Was this Pascal? No Pascal. Draw a flowchart for it. Well, it's in Pascal, so I mean, even though we could draw the flowchart here, but don't fight it too much. Nope. Array? Nope. Array is off the syllabus. This one is on the syllabus. Read the paragraph that follows from the group of capitalized words given, determine the missing word. Alright, so let's see. John is a programmer. John, a programmer, is responsible for developing a payroll program for an organization. He constructed a something using symbols to represent the something of the program. John then wrote the something code for the payroll program using the Pascal programming language. He then needed to something the program to check for something errors. 2 errors were highlighted. John then had to something the program to locate and fix the errors. He proceeded to something the program, which hanged and produced no results indicating that there was a something error. Those errors were located and corrected, and the program did what it was supposed to do, indicating that there was no something errors. John created something documentation with instructions to the end users on how to use the program. So, if you don't know this, you don't know this. If you don't know these terms, algorithm, execute, logic, syntax, compile, external, runtime, debug, flowchart, source, and if you don't know those things, then you really know how much. If you don't know any of those terms, yeah, check my previous videos. Check the problem solving video and you might see some things about that, or the programming video or something like that. So that's that. John is a programmer responsible for developing a payroll program for an organization. He constructed a flowchart. Is flowchart there? Yes, flowchart is there. Using symbols, right? Symbols is the keyword there. Once you see you're using symbols, it's clearly a flowchart. To represent the something of the program. What do we want to represent? A flowchart is a representation of an algorithm. John then something code for the payroll program using the Pascal programming language. Once you use a programming language, you are writing source code. Source code. Right. He then needed to something the program to check for errors. Anytime you're checking for errors, you are debugging. And to check for what errors, usually the first type of error you have to check for is a syntax error. Syntax errors will be errors when you leave out semicolons and all them kind of thing. 2 errors were highlighted. John then had to something the program to locate the errors. Actually, didn't debug the program yet. My bad. The first thing you do is compile the program. After you compile the program, then you could debug and find the errors. Alright, yeah. So that's a common mistake there. If I make a mistake, that means it's a mistake that students will probably make too, right? So you have to compile the program to see if there are syntax errors. And after you compile, once you find the errors, you debug it to locate and fix the errors. That's the key part there. Locating and fixing is debugging. Right, he proceeded to something the program which hanged. So for the program to hang, the next thing you do after you compile, you usually click run, right? So you run the program to see if it does what it's supposed to do. It produced the results, indicating that there was no results. When you don't get any results, you have a logic error. because logic means that it doesn't make sense to the instructions don't make sense. Those errors were located and corrected, and the program did what it was supposed to do, indicating that there were no no, wait, my bad. It produced no results, indicating that there was if it produced no results. Or, you see this part where it says hanged? Hanged means there is a runtime error. Runtime error means that the program kind of freezes. Yeah, so there's a runtime error. Those errors were located and corrected, and the program did what it was supposed to do, indicating that there were no logic errors. Right? So anytime it says it does what it was supposed to do, the logic is correct. John then created something documentation, which is external documentation. Right. So a type of question like this, you really need to take your time and read it over and over and over and over and over in order to get it correct. And that'll be your 10 marks there. Right, in the table below, write numbers 1 to 6 to indicate the correct order of the steps that correspond to the problem-solving process. Again, if you do know the problem-solving process, then you may want to go back and check back your theory to make sure you understand, but you could reason it out. First thing you always have to do with the problem-solving process is to figure out what the problem is. So identify and define the problem, clearly one. After you figure out the problem, you're now going to have to, where you say there's no runtime there? You look runtime right there. There's no run. He proceeded to execute the program. My bad. There's supposed to be execute. Thank you very much again. Yeah, right, cool. Right, so identify the problem. Identify and define the problem, one. After that, you're going to have to now analyze the problem clearly because you have to figure out what is the issue. After you analyze the problem, you will have to write the algorithm, because you now kind of know what the things that you have to fix. After you write the algorithm, you'll have to test the algorithm. This is before you even write the code. Don't do that. Like after you write it, and you have to test the algorithm. After you test it, then you could actually go and write the program. And after you write the program, then you could test to see if it's doing what it's supposed to do. And that's 6 marks there. Ta-da! Right, basic. And last part, for each of the following programming languages, state the generation 1st to 4th. SQL is 4th generation. That's strictly notes. The reason it's 4th generation because it's really easy to understand. It uses a lot of English words. Very, very Englishy. Pascal is 3rd generation because it uses it's coded English. Machine language is the lowest thing that the computer will understand. So this is 1st generation as the actual ones and zeros. And then assembly language is 2nd generation. This is mnemonics. That's when you take these ones and zeros and you code them into words like add and sub and thing. Yeah. Yep. And that is all the usable questions on this past paper, which is January 2015. So if I do get the 2021 paper by next week, I will continue going back down the road. So I'll jump back to May, June 2014, and we'll just keep going all the way back until we reach down to 2010. And then I'll have all the past papers done. But if you're here, it's probably because you're doing CSEC IT. You probably have friends in your class or whatnot. You could share these videos with them. Share the website, which is makeITsimpleTT.com/videos. And you could go to the CSEC IT videos section. And then from there, you'll be able to see all the videos that I have. And trust me, this is going to help real students. But you need to share it with them. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow on Instagram. Instagram.com/makeITsimpleTT. All those things in the link in the description of the video. So you can click those things. Follow there. I don't just teach IT. I love IT. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll get like tech talks, and I'll post videos and different things of things in technology because I believe technology is fun. And I have our next live stream coming up now. So thank you everybody for your wonderful time. I have computer science coming up next. So I'll see y'all next week. It was nice. Bye bye.